Alright, welcome my friends. This is Wired Up Retro episode number 10. And today we're continuing our talk of controller add-ons, this time for Generation 6 of video game consoles, the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Gamecube generation. And we have quite a number of controller add-ons to be discussing today. The game pads were really the most popular type of controllers during this generation. Joysticks, not so much, but I do have one controller add-on. You could call it an add-on or an interchangeable part of a controller. This is a Gamester, kind of a mini joystick made for the Xbox original console, and they made these also for the original PlayStation 2 console as well. And if you flip this over, you can see there's a little hole right here, and you can take an Allen wrench and stick it in there and start turning it, and eventually that stick can be removed. And apparently this came with an additional type of joystick with a different shaped top, so if you wanted to play your games with a different shaped top stick, you could actually interchangeably go from one to the other. So they did that for both consoles, and that I would call a controller add-on, joystick related. Alright, other controller add-ons regarding PlayStation 2 include thumbstick caps, and these thumbstick caps can provide extra grip, and they can also turn a controller that has a dome-like thumbstick, such as the PlayStation DualShock 2, into a controller that has more of an indented thumbstick, like let's say the Xbox 360 controller, or even the Sony dual analog pad from the last generation that had an indented thumbstick. So a number of different products came out. Most of them came out actually in Generation 7 during the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 gen. But in the PlayStation 2 original Xbox and Gamecube gen, there were a couple that came out. The one that comes to my mind is gel tabs. Geltabz, and I discussed them in the last episode and how they can be put into use on a Mako Pad PC, as well as another controller that's similar to that, an N64 controller made by Interact, but or maybe it's Performance, but anyway. But yeah, the gel tabs are really nice. They offer a very rubbery type feel, and they do go on the original DualShock 2 pretty well. They'll also go on a variety of different types of controllers. Gel tabs on a PlayStation 3 controller are also very nice, and I have my gel tabs right on these thumbsticks. Another controller that I really like from the PlayStation 2 generation is the Logitech cordless controller. This is the second revision. The first version of it is bigger, okay, and on either of these you can put these Xbox 360 analog stick grip covers. These come in gray. They also have the black version right here, but they go whether you're talking about this controller or the other Logitech, which is a little more compact and smaller, it enables you to get that indented thumbstick. I do really like these thumbsticks. These are extra grippy, and so if you like grip, you don't even need to add a thumbstick cover or cap onto it. But if you like indented thumbsticks, these Alpha Line analog stick grip covers do a great job, and they're pretty grippy as well. Also in the PlayStation 3 gen, there was a product that was called the Venom thumbstick caps, made you know, again, to have more of a indented feel to them, and I put these on my Logitech Xbox controller, the original Xbox, and they fit just right. These will not fit though on this Sony DualShock 2 because those thumbsticks are just a little bit bigger, and some of these thumbsticks that are smaller, made for PlayStation 3 controllers, by the way, they're not going to work on a DualShock 2 controller. Alright, so that covers those caps, alright? And I'm going to go forward. I also want to touch on a couple other things that I managed to skip over last episode, having to do with Generation 5 controllers. Early in Generation 5, the CDI and the Jaguar came out, and I was talking last episode about a variety of different PlayStation 1 multi-taps. And actually there was a multi-tap made for the Jaguar, and I definitely want to mention that. It's called the Team Tap, and it was made for White Men Can't Jump, the game. And it was also made for another basketball game on the Jaguar called Barkley Shut Up and Jam. So if you're into basketball and you're a Jaguar fan, you can get your group of friends together and your 4 Jaguar controllers and have a blast playing some basketball with multi-tap action. Another item I want to also mention from Generation 5 that I didn't manage to mention before is the CDI Philips gamepad. This is made by the company behind CDI, and in that gamepad, in the D-pad of it, you have a hole, and you can actually put a little joystick. It's a little tall screw-in joystick that goes in there. It's a controller add-on. So I thought I'd mention that since we didn't manage to last visit. All right. So now we'll go forward into Generation 6 again. This next example is an item that was released for the Xbox 360, but you can actually put it into use on some PlayStation 2 controllers, such as this more compact Logitech cordless controller. And it's called the Control Freaks Speed Freaks, okay? And also will be able to be put into one of these Logitech Xbox original controllers. I've got it right here, and I really like this. It does give you a little bit more of a tactile feel when you're driving using the thumbstick. You can feel the sides of this device, and it gives you just a little bit more feel like you're in control of how far you're pressing that stick to the left or to the right. A little extra analog sensitivity is really what it's offering you. I really like that, and it does also work on a PlayStation 3 controller as well as the Xbox 360. One nice thing about this Xbox controller is that the thumbstick for racing games is a little further here to the left side of the controller. If you're using this device, the Speed Freaks, on a PlayStation 2 controller, it's a little more toward the middle. You got to stretch your thumb over just a little further, and if you've got this installed, you might bump the left side of that device more than you're bumping the right side of it. So it's not as ideal when using it on a PlayStation 2 controller, but it's definitely going to work. And one other thing I'll mention here is this will not be installable on a DualShock 2. Again, those thumbstick pads are a little too wide for it. Another controller that I've owned is the Fanatec Speedster, and these have pretty small thumbsticks. This is made for the PlayStation 2, and it actually is a driving controller that enables you to get some analog action by a swivel mechanism inside the controller. And it's nice for racing games. I reviewed this back in, a long time ago, 2012 here on YouTube. And I'm going to put a link below to show you if you want to watch me when I was a bit younger, give a little bit of an unboxing and a little review of the Speedster. But, on your Speedster, I have one here without the thumb pads, and this one has the Alpha line analog stick grip covers installed, and they give a little bit more of that, again, the indented feel that I personally like. All right, and another controller add-on that I want to mention is a product called Squid Grip, and that's for the Xbox 360. I think it also is made for other, like PlayStation controllers, but it's an adhesive grip that goes onto the body of the controller or the handles of the controller. And you can put those, not just on Xbox 360, but you can put them on PlayStation 2 controllers, a Gamecube controller, an Xbox original controller. They're extra grippy. And speaking of extra grippy, I also want to mention a product that was made for the PlayStation 3 controller. And you might notice this has a little unique looking shape to it. Well, it's because I've got these controller handles installed. These were made, they're called the EA Sports Pack for PlayStation 3. The EA Sports Pack not only came with these handles, but also it came with the Venom thumb pads or caps, which I have on this controller. So anyway, but yeah, it just gives you a little extra width, or you could say the shape has changed on your controller handles a little bit. But the most nice thing about it is the shape of it. Back here, it's kind of got some curvy design there, and it's really grippy. It's like tire rubber, so I like it. And it's designed to fit on a PS3 controller, but the PlayStation 2 controllers will fit those handles as well. which does make them, I think, quite valuable. I ended up getting them through Amazon out of Germany back probably over 5 years ago. They were never ever available in the United States, but the company Electronic Arts was apparently behind the product, and I think it did succeed in, I guess, certain parts of Germany and maybe somewhat England as well, because I did see it on Amazon UK. All right, onwards and forwards. I did mention last time that there was a Dreamcast peripheral called the Comfort Cover. This accessory is basically a cover for the Dreamcast controller that gives it a little bit more of a cushy feel, and it's also maybe designed for people with sweaty hands who want to have that sweat absorbed. The Comfort Cover is definitely rare, and it's not something you're going to find very often, but you know, it's a unique little product for the Dreamcast. And the Dreamcast, another thing I'll mention about this controller is that the gel tabs also can fit on the thumbstick, but the Speed Freaks add-on won't fit on that thumbstick. So yeah, if you want a little extra grip on your Dreamcast controller, there's a way to get that accomplished. All right, the Dreamcast has 4 ports for controllers, and you don't need a multi-tap. The PlayStation 1 obviously had the need for a multi-tap because, you know, if you want to play 4 players, there's only 2 controller ports. And the same applies to the PlayStation 2. There's only 2 controller ports, so you need a multi-tap if you want to play with more people at the party that you're going to go to. This one is made by Joystick, nice quality and very compact multi-tap compared to the original PlayStation 1 multi-tap. And there were a variety of different PlayStation 2 multi-taps made by many different third-party companies, just like I had shown you on the last episode with regard to PlayStation 1 multi-taps. So I'm showing you a few above different designs of the PlayStation 2 multi-taps. Another thing I'll mention is there were no multi-taps for Gamecube or the original Xbox. Again, they already had the 4 ports on board, so no need for that. All right, onwards. Another product I want to mention here is the product that's called the Extend Play. And basically this is designed for people who apparently want to put their controllers in their laps. You know, this is like twice or 3 times larger than a Jaguar controller at this point. This PlayStation, this poor DualShock is now really the biggest monstrosity of all time. Now this is pretty, fortunately, it's pretty lightweight material. It's kind of rubber, you know, it's like a spongy rubber. It's not real spongy, but a little bit. And you know, if you put it in your lap, maybe it'll give you a little bit more of a different feel for your controller. I'm not really terribly excited about it, but maybe some people who kind of want that extra cushy controller, or maybe the more Jaguar-like controller, would love this. All right, so nextly, another product that came out for the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 1, this is for both, it says on the box, is the Go Wireless Wireless Controller Adapter. And the wireless controller adapter basically comes with a receiver you plug into your PlayStation or PlayStation 2 controller port, and then it's got a transmitter that you plug your controller into. So it's going to be submitting a signal to your wireless receiver and enabling you to turn a DualShock or DualShock 2 controller into a wireless controller. One caveat is that when you buy these days on places like, let's say, eBay, which is where I got mine, you'll notice that the people selling the items have the words new, old stock. So I'm like, is it new? Yeah, it's new, but it's old stock. So is it old? Yeah, it's definitely old, because the internal battery is a rechargeable. You know, these rechargeable batteries eventually die. And so what I did was I found out, okay, I'm going to look at this battery and we're going to get a replacement at the battery store and put it in there and it's going to be rechargeable again. Well, not so much. I did try that, put a rechargeable battery back inside of it and try to recharge it, no luck. So if you do buy the Go Wireless, yeah, I'm not going to say this Interact product is going to work. It may or may not if you can find the right battery. And if anybody does try that same attempt that I did and have success, I definitely am interested to know where you found that battery. All right, kind of a neat product though, very innovative, and for the time, you know, people who wanted to go wireless could actually accomplish that. Now another product, I'm getting down to the last couple of products here. This is an Alienware controller, and it's not strictly a PC controller for Alienware computers, but it's actually got a PlayStation 2 controller connector. And when I found this, I was just very mystified. I had never seen this product in my whole life. One thing I noticed is that the one thumbstick was gone, and it's kind of got a rectangular nub here. And I also figured out that you can just remove this, and it just kind of pushes into place. It's a controller add-on. I guess they were interchangeable. There were probably ones that were, I'm guessing, this convex surface and also maybe a concave surface thumbstick add-on or interchangeable thumbsticks. So yeah, unfortunately this is missing. I kind of wish I had the second thumbstick, but I don't. But this is actually the predecessor of what is now getting a little more popular these days. The Xbox One has an Elite controller that has different thumbsticks with different types of thumb pads, and they're interchangeable. So these controller add-ons have kind of caught on. I really like this controller. Another weird and interesting aspect of it is the underside of the controller. Under the thumbsticks are these little buttons that you can press in. And I haven't really plugged it into a PS2 to see if those work. I'm kind of wondering if those are programmable on a PC and maybe only usable on a PC. But then again, it could be that these are representing the L3 and R3 click-in of the thumbstick pad, and maybe you can just click it down here below. But yeah, I'll have to do a little more experimenting using this. It's definitely unique, and these things are not easy to find. So if you do happen to locate one and it has both joystick thumb pads, boy, you're in luck. And this is definitely a unique collector's item. All right, last couple of things. I wanted to cover this product called the SplitFish, also known as Gameware motion adapter or motion FX adapter, and this is for the PlayStation 2. Alright, so the way this works is that you take your PlayStation 2 DualShock 2 and this will connect to it like that, okay? And this motion FX adapter then will plug into your controller here, and then this goes straight into your PlayStation 2. And it enables you to have this capability to set your motion for left and right, let's say for driving your car, or you can do pitch and yaw and left and right action for gameplay of flight games on your PlayStation 2. And this actually has a calibration feature, which if you're playing with it and your car keeps running into the wall and it's like way too sensitive, you can set it so that it's far less sensitive, and then you'll have better luck. So that's one great feature about this product. This motion effects adapter has calibration features, which are really nice. Another thing I'll mention here, when I got my PlayStation 3, onwards to Generation 7 we go, I had obviously the 6-axis controller, and I put the 6-axis controller into motion mode to use or 6-axis mode for use on the game MotorStorm. And I noticed it was extremely sensitive and just hard to control. So I obviously stopped using 6-axis in that game because it was just way too sensitive. So I got in my mind, I wonder if my SplitFish motion FX adapter could be put into use on my PlayStation 3 using a PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 adapter. And lo and behold, I got it all plugged in, and I played MotorStorm, and I calibrated this so that it was a much less sensitive steering, and boy, I had a really good time with the motion driving. So if you give that a try, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think that this is a really unique device, and I like it. Unfortunately, it can only be connected with its plastic connector to a single kind of PlayStation 2 controller, the DualShock 2. If you're trying to connect it to, let's say, a third-party controller, typically it's not going to click on. You can just place it on top of the controller and either rubber band it, tape it, or whatever. This is a Logitech cordless controller. If you add it to a cordless controller, it'll work, but it's going to make it a corded controller. But you probably want a little bit more connectivity with the PlayStation 2 DualShock 2. It'll look a little bit snazzier if you're using that. All right, another item I want to bring up here is the Cat-Eye Game Bike. The Cat-Eye Game Bike includes a controller. It's proprietary. It's got special connectors on it and even maybe an extra button or two. That controller is used to navigate the menus, but the main item of the Game Bike really are the two platforms. You've got a platform for the back wheel of your bicycle, which will give you acceleration and braking in the video game. And then you've got the front wheel, which does the analog left and right steering. So with the Cat-Eye Game Bike, you can really get active in your video gaming and maybe work up a sweat. So it could be kind of fun for, you know, bicycle games on the PlayStation 2, which there are a couple, and the motorcycle games can be fun with it, and maybe even car racing games if you want to get imaginative. Another item I'll bring up here for the PlayStation 2 is the Mate Flash Controller Programmable Converter. And this is a add-on for controllers that enables you to program macros for your fighting games, and it can add a turbo function and speed adjustment. I'll go forward also with items for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Rubber grips. Rubber grip covers have been made for Xbox 360 controllers. These are typically not going to be able to be put into use on any original Xbox or original PlayStation controllers. These are specifically going to work just for Xbox 360 controllers. Now there are you know, those handles for the PlayStation 2, the EA Sports Pack I mentioned earlier. There's also a similar product made for the Xbox 360, and these are called the Playmaker grips. They have a really nice rubber grippy feel. It's real texturized. It's a little different from the PlayStation 2 controller. And one thing I found out about the Playmaker grips is that they will fit on the extra large size Xbox original Logitech cordless controller. Also, actually right on here at the moment, I have these Pro Grips, and Pro Grips will fit on it also. Maybe not quite as well as the Playmaker grips. There's a little loose aspect here in the back of the controller, but the front holds pretty tight to it. And this is the only original Xbox controller that I have in my collection that will work with Xbox 360 handle grips. But if you're interested in grips for your original Xbox controllers, you might want to grab that larger size Logitech controller. All right. Another thing, I should also mention that there are accessories for the PlayStation 3 that allow you to get your PlayStation 3 controller triggers a little larger in size. You know, they were made kind of more tucked into the controller, and people would complain about their fingers slipping off. And so you can have those little trigger add-ons. The first ones out were called the real triggers. They make it a little extra nice, and a number of people have bought those and enjoyed them. Another item for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 that's a very unique add-on is called the Avenger, and it's helpful in games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, and it enables you to keep both thumbs on the thumbsticks without having to, you know, switch from the right thumbstick over to the X or the circle button. And you can just stay on the thumbstick and press these little levers on the controller, and that'll give you action within the video game that you know, may give you a little extra handle on the controls. There's my cat. All right, PlayStation 3 also had the Move controllers that could be attached to a motorcycle handlebars device, sort of like how you could connect a Wii motion controller to the Mario Kart steering wheel. You know, I could go into a myriad of Wii add-ons and PlayStation 3 Move controllers at this point, but there are just so many. There's just almost way too many to even imagine. The pictures I'm showing will just, you know, give you a good sampling of them. Generation 7 of video game consoles was really the golden age of controller add-ons. It's not so much a retro time period. Generation 7 is just one generation back. We're now in Generation 8. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely some really neat controller add-ons these days for wireless controllers. Alright, so we're pretty much wrapping up the controller add-ons part of Wired Up Retro episodes. This has been a fun series for me. I have a lot of controller add-ons, and as you can see, I enjoy quite a few of them. And hopefully, I've given you some information about them that, may help you decide, okay, I want to up my game and I want a controller add-on that might help me do that, whether it's something that's, going to actually functionally change your controller, or just a PlayStation, wrap. Something to give you maybe a little rubbery feel to your controller. And they all have their distinct pros and cons. Some of them have some major cons, actually, but the ones with the pros, I think, are pretty nice to own. All right, so we're going to move forward into new territory. On our next episode, I'll be discussing with you a brand new discovery that no one knows about. So I won't go any further. I'm just going to have to ask you to subscribe to my channel so that you can make sure to watch our next episode. It'll be coming up sometime soon. All right, give us a like or a thumbs up, and I definitely will look forward to reading some of your comments below. It's been great presenting all this to you. Look forward to seeing you next time.